So exciting. I am Synopsis, aka Sydney, but Sydney Synopsis, you know. I do not know how to talk to a camera, so this is gonna take some getting used to, but basically I have so many book thoughts and ideas and rambles and, you know, all that jazz, and it's very hard to type it all on my Instagram because nobody really wants to read like a billion paragraphs on Instagram. So I thought my first video would be a August wrap-up of all the books that I read in August. It's my first wrap-up in the 8th month of the year, so I am so excited. So if you're clicking onto this video and you don't know me like in real life, thank you so much. This means so much to me. I am so excited. If you like this video, you could subscribe, and there is some really cool and awesome things that I have planned for this. So yeah, thank you so much. We are going to start with the first book that I read. So the first book that I have is I Want to Eat Your Pancreas by Yoko Sumino. I picked up this book in Kinokuniya, but it wasn't the first time that I saw this. I saw this when I first discovered Kinokuniya in San Francisco with my boyfriend, and what really drew me to this book is that I am a newly diagnosed type 1 diabetic, so I was kind of gravitating towards the title. Really got me, because you're probably thinking, if you've never heard of it, like, what does that mean, right? So read the book and find out, because this was a 5-star rating. I loved it so much. It got me out of like a semi-book slump. Basically, it follows the perspective of an unknown narrator, and by unknown I mean we don't know his name, but it takes place in a Japanese high school, and this boy comes across a diary of a student with a illness that we find out is pancreatic cancer, and nobody knows but him. So they develop a friendship, and it basically follows their friends to lovers journey, and it is amazing. There is a giant plot twist. Like, I usually don't react to shows or books like in facial expressions or laugh when I'm alone, but when I was reading it, I literally got to the plot twist and I was like, and I'm not even exaggerating, like, this book tore me to pieces in the best way possible, because it was tragic, it was a love story. It just made me feel so deeply connected to these characters, and I am so happy that I decided to pick this book up, and I really want to watch the movie. So if you're looking for something really easy on the eye to read, I really recommend this because it's really good, and I think it's a really important story about friendship and telling the people that you love them before it's too late. Alright, so the next book that I read, I literally read in one day. It is The Kissing Quotient by Helen Hoang, and immediately after I read this, I went and picked up the sequel, which is The Bride Test, I believe, but I loved it. 5 stars. But now that I'm thinking about it, it was more of 4 stars because I was still riding the high of you know, reading I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, and here was another love story, and you can come at me if you want, but I am a miscommunication girly. Not in real life, but in books, I love the miscommunication trope because you know that they're gonna get together. But, you know, you know that they're gonna get together, and you just get to watch their journey of them both realizing that they love each other. Okay, maybe I like it because my relationship started out as a miscommunication trope, so my 4-year relationship started out as a miscommunication trope, so maybe that's why I like it, because I had to relate to it, I guess. But I picked up this book and it surprised me because I saw it all over BookTube and BookTok and Bookstagram, and I was like, I have no idea what this book is about, but people keep saying that they like it. So I bought it, and I told my boyfriend, I was like, oh my gosh, I picked up this book about math, and it's like a school romance, I think. And he read the back of it, and he was like, what? That's not what this is about. This is about an autistic, mid-30s girl named Stella who works in an office and knows nothing about love and relationships and feels very close to numbers because she can predict them and stuff like that. So she hires a male escort to teach her about relationships and sex, and it is pretty smutty. I typically don't like books with smut in them, but I loved this one for some reason. I don't know why, so and anyways, and basically they fall in love. So it was a really good read. I read it in one day. Talking on a camera is harder than I thought. Like, wow. It's been a while since I read it, but the Asian American representation in this book was amazing, and also the autism representation in this book was amazing as well. As a person who has like ADHD and anxiety, there were a lot of similar things that happened in this book that kind of relate to the way that I think, and I don't know, I felt like it wasn't over the top. I feel like books can sometimes become a little showy with, you know, characters having disabilities or something like that, and I felt like it was a perfect amount that was brought up in this book, and I thought it was adorable how patient the love interest was with this character, because we need more people like that are, like, you know, really patient and understanding with those that do struggle with, you know, understanding feelings and emotions and stuff like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I can't wait to read the sequel, which includes the same world of characters but different characters. So yeah, the third book that I read this month was The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mikki Brammer, and this became easily one of my top 10 books of 2023. I've read about 42 books this year, so that was big for me. I absolutely ate this book up and left no crumbs. Like, this book was it, you know. I loved it so much. I thought its premise was so interesting. The back of it is just death she gets. It's life that she can't quite figure out. It is about a death doula, which I didn't know was a thing. So if you've heard of a birth doula, this is basically that, but in guiding people to death, you know, people who don't have family members, or people who, you know, are terminally ill and need somebody to just sit there with them and guide them into the afterlife, or, you know, whatever happens after death, whatever you believe happens in death. And I think this story was so important for everybody to read. It is about a girl named Clover, death doula, right? And basically you just go through her life, and she just talks about all these different people, and the author researches so many things about you know, people going into death, you know, how people will confess things before they die, and how death doesn't have to be such a scary thing. And I thought the story was just so beautiful. As someone who has worked in a independent home of retired people, you know, I have experienced being around that a lot, and I think it is something that is very valuable in life to learn, you know, that death doesn't have to be so scary. And it's so hard to explain, but this book just moved me in a way that no other book has moved me. I think that the character's internal dialogue was very similar to mine. Just working at that home and reading this book just taught me to take things slower in life, you know. There is no rush, you know. You only have one life, and you should cherish it, you know. And I recommend this to literally everyone. There's a little bit of romance in it, but romance isn't the whole theme of the book. It's really just this character unpacking her trauma with her tragedies, and, you know, trying to understand why she does what she does. And I really loved it, and I would totally read it again. If you don't believe how much I like soared through this book, the horrible thing happened. So if you see here, I was literally just soaring through it, accidentally tore the page. It's like a book reader's worst nightmare. So, but lucky for me, I will definitely never be giving this book away, because this is going to stay in my collection for a very, very long time. Alright, so next we have Diary of a Void by Yagi, sorry. And this is about a woman who works an office job and basically fakes a pregnancy to kind of see how differently people will treat her. And it's very interesting because the narrator is unreliable. So as you're reading the book, you know, like, the pregnancy is fake, but she talks about it like it's real. Like, my baby is the size of a watermelon today. I mean, you're kind of confused because almost she like convinces herself that she is pregnant, and you're just kind of watching the journey of her like 36 weeks of, you know, pregnancy, and how she hides it so well. And this, I rated it 3 stars. I was looking forward to reading this book so much. You will learn about me that I love translated literature, especially from Japanese and from Korean. And I feel like I saw this book so much on Bookstagram, and I was so excited to read it that I kind of set myself up for disappointment, because I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's saying that this is so good and it's amazing. And I do love, you know, Japanese literature and how Japanese authors capture the mundane moments of life. I think that every author that I've read from does that very well. I think I just wasn't in the mood to read it, which is heartbreaking because that's my least favorite type of book to read, because it's like I really would have enjoyed it if I was in the right mindset, because I went from like 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars to this 3 stars, you know. And I think it's because not a lot happened in the story, and also the time in my life that I'm in. Like, I'm 22, I've never been pregnant, so I just couldn't really relate to the character, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that the story is important. I think I would definitely read it again, maybe in a different phase of my life, but I'm still glad that I read it, you know. It was the first book that I read with an unreliable narrator, which was a little bit confusing. So if you have any books with less confusing unreliable narrators, that would be cool, but I don't think that unreliable narrators will have a clear story because they're unreliable, so they can't give it, you know. I don't know. I've never read many unreliable character books, so. Alright, so the last book I'm gonna show you is actually the book that I'm reading right now. It's my August wrap-up, but it is August 30th, so I only have 1 day left. But this is Cabinet by Eunsu Kim, or Kim Eunsu, and it is about these people called symptomers, and a file cabinet that tracks all of the people known as symptomers, and they just have all these weird abilities. One guy can grow a tree from his finger, another person has a doppelganger, and you just kind of follow all of these kind of strange fantasy-like people from the same point of view of the interviewer of all these people. His name is Mr. Cohn. It is a Korean translated book, and I actually knew nothing about it before I picked it up, but I picked it up at a bookstore in Seattle when I went up with my family, and I'm really glad that I picked it up. I'm not a big fantasy reader. I kind of find fantasy hard to follow, but I do like that it's not a mix of short stories, it's a consecutive story with the same narrator. I'm only halfway through it, but I really hope that I continue to enjoy it. I'm very curious how it's going to end. This might also be in my September wrap-up video, so we'll see about that, but yep. Oh my gosh, alright. So that is all of the books that I read in August. I wanted that video to be more organized than it was, but I'm just now getting over a sickness, so my brain is still a little foggy. Hopefully with time and practice, these videos will be a little more organized and my thoughts will be a little bit more put together. If you're new, you know, to meeting me, you know, nice to meet you. Thank you for watching. Thanks to all my friends and family who have supported me through starting this channel and starting my Bookstagram. You can find my Bookstagram. It's the same handle as my YouTube. And I am just so happy to be here, and I cannot wait to share more like book thoughts and potential travel videos, and I think that my next video is going to be my all-time favorite books, so that would be so exciting. Thank you so much for following me through this whole video. If you watched it, I really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to continue my new YouTube journey, so thank you so much.